This meeting is now being recorded.
Welcome to our webinar on the 2017 Performance Appraisal Process. I am Anthony Petrarca, the Training Manager at Pioneer, and I'm going to be your host during our session today. Before I introduce our presenter, Paul Caddy, I want to go over the objectives for our session. It's our hope that by the end of the session, you'll be able to understand how the performance review process works. You're going to be able to get underway with the process, easily complete the appraisal form, and identify tools you will need that will assist you in your appraisal review discussion. Now, please note, you should have received the Manager Guidelines for Employee Performance Review, which covers much of the information you will hear today. This document is for supervisors only and should not be distributed to others. You also have access to the performance form on Pioneer, which includes directions on how it is to be completed. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Paul.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your day to learn more about the 2017 Performance Appraisal Process. For those of you I haven't worked directly with, my role in the company is a human resource business partner. The appraisal form is part of a larger performance management system at Pioneer Human Services. Performance management engages employees in their own success by providing goals, training, and feedback to help them succeed. Appraisals and goal setting are key parts of any performance management system, and the strength of the process comes from each supervisor and employee honestly engaging in the process. Providing clear goals leads to success for the employee in performing their everyday job. They feel supported, they feel like they're a positive contributor, and they understand their part in the organization. For supervisors, providing clear goals increases employee performance in their unit. Supervisors are then freed up to talk about larger unit issues rather than spending more time coaching and counseling multiple employees. And for the organization as a whole, employees feel respected, they feel good about being part of PHS, and overall morale is higher as employees see they're rewarded for good performance. Documentation is essential to writing a fair and objective review that summarizes the employee's performance results for the review period. The review is the supervisor's opportunity to assess and clearly communicate the employee's successes in achieving the goals and job performance over the last year. It's also a chance to identify critical areas of growth and opportunities for the employee and creates the groundwork for next year by identifying new goals. We have the 2017 appraisal form on Pioneer. It's located under the Forms and Documents, Performance and Discipline, Annual Performance Appraisal. It is a new and simplified form. Please make sure you're using the 2017 form. The directions are on the first page. Now Anthony's on the form so we could look at it. The top section looks very much like what we've been used to working with last year, but the directions are under this, and you can see the manager will rate each the overall performance rating, including the competencies, and then the goals and expectations rating on the 1 to 5 scale, using the rating definitions outlined. The competencies are listed, but if you'd like the more detailed list on the competencies, refer to the expectations form completed for 2017, or the blank form under the Performance and Discipline Forms and Documents section of Pioneer. The second section is related to goals from the expectations form for 2017. You will cut and paste to that section as you did last year. Use the same rating scale. The form will average the two ratings to the nearest score of our rating scale and automatically appear in the overall appraisal score box. Appraisals need to be submitted for review by January 26, 2018, and approved by the reviewer by February 9, 2018. Appraisal discussions with employees occur in early March after HR communicates the schedule for coverage. Let's review the descriptions for each rating. The rating scale is the same with a slight variation to the description of 3 and 3.5. We'd expect most of our employees to meet expectations, which we believe means you're fully functional in your position and meeting your expectations. We consider this a very good place to be. Therefore, any ratings above or below a 3 rating must be addressed in the comment section and include specific reasons for an above or below rating. Use clear examples of where the employee excelled or fell below, and ensure examples fall within the review period. If goals were not reached due to budget constraints, this is no fault of the employee, just as if goals not reached due to a project being canceled are no fault of the employee. If the majority of goals were met successfully, the manager has the ability to determine the rating as 2.5 meets most expectations or 3 meets expectations, depending on the importance of the goals not completely met. As you can see, a 4 exceeds all expectations, and this is a great score. Based on that, to get a 5 should be demonstratively better than exceeding all expectations. This is not unattainable, but if you believe an employee meets this criteria, your description on the appraisal should clearly support it. Competencies are skills we expect employees to possess in order to perform successfully. We have a set of competencies for all employees and an additional set for leaders. Let's review the employee competencies first. Competencies should be tailored for each position. An example of this for communication might be how our expectations around communications for, say, a lead are less than what we expect for an employee of Hillary's who's in charge of crafting communications to fit a wide range of media. For punctuality, an example might be an hourly employee tardy to work and holding up production. An employee who's customer-facing may be late to work and hold up clients who are participating in a group session. Or an employee might be late to every scheduled meeting or not attend required monthly meetings. Now let's look at the leader competencies. As you can see, more is expected of leaders. Let's talk about integrity. We say everyone needs integrity, and that's certainly right. But the higher you move up in the organization, the more responsibilities you have in your role, and so usually your role in ethics also increases. You have to be aware of more laws and regulations, and you're responsible for making sure employees who report to you or people you may have dealings with on behalf of the company are doing the right thing too. And we certainly want to make sure leaders are exhibiting these skills to be successful. You will assess competencies in the overall position rating section along with employees' job performance in the duties or tasks summarized in their job description. Prior to getting started, you should gather all applicable documents from the past year and review them. There are many things you need to have on hand to complete the form, including your notes from verbal discussions, copy of the employee's current job description, past performance reviews, written documentation of successes in areas that need improvement, performance improvement plans, this year's goals and expectations for the employee, any written warnings, productivity reports, or metrics. You may find it helpful to develop an online folder in Outlook to house kudos or possible learning opportunities to refer to when writing appraisals. You can cut and paste from the 2017 expectations to the goals section and then provide enough detail about gauging the employee's success or failure in achieving the metric. Of most importance is the appraisal is based on facts, metrics, and results of expectations given that occurred this review period. Remember, the appraisal is only covering performance and expectations for 2017, so you should provide examples of actions or projects that took place that contributed to the score. Write the review with objectivity and rate the employee based on observed performance indicators rather than any personal feelings or biases about the employee. We need to avoid the halo effect, only recording positive things. Even a great employee usually has room to grow. And we're not doing right by employees if we don't discuss areas that need improvement. This is part of leadership and will help the employee succeed in the future. Examples of actual demonstrated performance are the best way to express both the good and the not-so-good areas of performance. So use the phrase, for example, to highlight actual situations that occurred. Documentation of employee performance reinforces the objectivity of the review. Avoid comments regarding protected action areas such as FMLA and ADA issues, using a sick child leave for sick child issues, having approved intermittent leave, or you didn't help me during an emergency because you couldn't miss church. These are all protected by state, federal, and local laws and should not be factored into the equation. As supervisors, it's part of the job to create accurate and fair evaluations for your employees. Start with employees who are not performing to standards, not meeting objectives or goals, not improving on issues raised last year. Remember, the appraisal is not the time to raise issues you haven't raised all year. Appraisal should summarize discussions and feedback that occurred during the year. After you get these complete, the remaining are much easier. You can ask your HRVP for copies of previous appraisals if needed, but remember, you're appraising the past year only. As PHS supervisors, you have the responsibility to treat your employees similarly in similar situations, and this includes rating them similarly for similar issues, both the good and the bad. For employees that moved into a new role or changed managers within 60 days of the review, the former manager of the employee is responsible for writing and delivering the review based upon the employee's former position. This is new to us this year, but it's really only fair to base the appraisal on the year's performance and not on a new spot where the employee hasn't had time to gain traction. The PHS system has direct supervisors draft evaluations, but the next level supervisor is the reviewer and has an important role to review the appraisal and ensure it is descriptive, accurate, and fair. Reviewers are responsible for ensuring fairness and consistency across their units as they review multiple supervisors' reviews. Their signature on the appraisal indicates they fully approve the contents and the score. If they don't agree with the content or score, they should go back to the direct supervisor to discuss their concerns and request changes. Please don't drag out corrective action plans. They need to be direct and concise. If the issue was addressed during the year through discipline, the corrective action plan should simply note the action and correction and state that you expect the improved performance or conduct to continue. Please make sure you're seriously reviewing these plans on an interim basis with the employee up to the cap completion. Don't sign off on an issue being completed as satisfactorily if it isn't. In reviewing annual appraisals over multiple years, it's common to see the same issues for improvement. It's not fair to the employee or PHS. If it's not corrected, you should consider disciplinary action during the year, not just a lower score at the end. Or maybe the issue isn't as important to you or the position as you thought. Should it still be considered? You may set interim reviews as often as you like during the year. You should review progress of the employee on each goal and competency, and if necessary, you can further define goals or modify the timeline. Most importantly, you need to assign new goals if they've been completed by the employee. No employee should be without goals they're working towards. Although interim reviews are unscored, you should document the progress and the conversation to assist you at the end of the year when creating the appraisal. These interim reviews need not be formal. However, you should note progress and be passing feedback to the employee, even if only a confirming email. You were asked to save the 2016 performance appraisals in your personal drive, and we'd like you to do the same thing this year. Save as and create the new 2017 folder. This allows you to track your employee's performance appraisal and make your work easier for the next performance appraisal. Here are the critical dates for the process this year. We are providing this training for you via webinar and in live sessions. Supervisors will draft appraisals, and you have until January 26th to send those to the reviewer. Please send them into a reviewer as they are completed. Don't wait until the last moment. Reviewers will approve appraisals from the 29th until February 9th. Appraisals are presented to employees after HR communicates coverage interval, which is usually early March. Please do not communicate appraisals early. You submit the HR signed expectations at the same time you submit the 2017 appraisal. so please be working on your expectations. We will have a new goal form out there shortly.
Okay, well, thank you, Paul. That is a lot of information for folks. So I want to remind people that they should already have in hand the manager guidelines for employee performance review, as well as the form, which is on PINet and does contain instructions. If you do have additional questions, please contact your HR business partner, and he or she should be able to help you. So with that, we just want to thank you for your time today and hope that this process goes well for you.
Thank you.